Welcome, friend. Glad to see you again. If you are an entrepreneur or creator who, despite all of your success in life and business, etc., still deep down are carrying an underlying sense of sometimes feeling not enough, not good enough, or maybe not worthy, not deserving, this video and this method is for you. I'm going to equip and empower you with the Sovereign Mind Method 2.0, a breakthrough methodology that you can use to instantaneously dissolve and transcend limiting beliefs. And my intention is to empower you to fully embody the identity that your mission and vision require. Now, let me clear up one thing for you. This is not NLP, this is not EFT, this is not hypnosis, this is nothing that you've ever seen before. This is an entirely new methodology that's founded upon a very simple framework and understanding of metaphysics. Using the power of your intention, you can dissolve the limiting belief at the energetic root structure, and you can disidentify from that structure such that you're fully empowered to choose what you believe for the rest of your life. And you are no longer bound to the limiting beliefs that you've created in your past. So in this video, I will be explaining step by step exactly how the Sovereign Mind Method will work to empower you to dissolve your limiting beliefs. And in order for this all to make sense, we're going to have to flip the whiteboard here and give you some core definitions and frameworks of understanding. Now, the very first thing that I want to clear up is this idea that a belief is just a statement about reality that you think is true. No, it's not. Beliefs are much more than that. Because, you see, beliefs are patterns of energy. And that energy that's bound up in the belief doesn't just live in your mind. Otherwise, you'd tell yourself, it's not true that I'm not worthy. It's not true that I don't deserve it. And then, ta-da, you'd be liberated for your entire life. But that hasn't worked, has it? So, it's a pattern of energy that lives in both your mind and your body. Seeing is believing, feeling is believing. You've got some emotions and sensations in your body that come up every time. That sense of not enough, not good enough, not worthy, not deserving, not capable. There's some emotional charge there. And this is one of the only methods that focuses on dissolving that emotional charge. And these patterns of energy that live in your mind and body, these are generating thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that cause you to act out of integrity and out of alignment with the mission and the vision that you're here on earth to fulfill. And so, how do we dissolve these energy patterns? Well, in the Sovereign Mind Method, we use commands. Commands are spoken sequences of intention. And these spoken intentions create very specific energetic effects in your mind and body. Energetic effects like detaching from the belief so that no part of you is secretly and subconsciously holding on to it. Energetic effects like dissolving the belief at both the definition and identity level. More on that later. Energetic effects in the mind and body. That's what a spoken command produces. Now, intention affects energy. And what does that mean? Well, if you focus on the intention of appreciating someone, and you focus on the intention of opening your heart as you appreciate them, what you'll notice is that your heart expands. And a subtle energetic current of love and appreciation extends from you to that person. So your intention created the energetic effect of sending a subtle current of love from yourself to another person. That's an example of intention affecting energy. So your intention creates energetic effects. Commands are how we precisely affect the energy pattern of the belief to dissolve. Every belief is a choice. Now, up until now, it has seemed as though your beliefs are stuck inside of your body, ruminating inside of your mind, and you're just kind of at their mercy, at their whim. And even though you've gone to the Tony Robbins seminars, even though you've done the ayahuasca journeys, and even though you've worked on that belief in traditional therapy for years and years, it's still with you, but not anymore. Because fundamentally, you are sovereign over your mind, and all of your beliefs and identities are under your command. This is why it's called the sovereign mind method. And that right there is the most important philosophical underpinning. If you just believe that you're sovereign over your mind, you might find that you have greater agency over your beliefs, particularly as you begin to master the sovereign mind method itself. Now, I've broken the method down into 4 key components. And the first component, Socrates told you about thousands of years ago. It's know thyself, become self-aware. And the question becomes, what do I believe that is directly causing my patterns of self-sabotage, procrastination, imposter syndrome, you name it? What do I believe that is directly causing those surface level problems and symptoms to reappear continuously in my life at every stage of my development and every stage of the growth of my business? Well, when you use methods that I offer in the book, which, by the way, I'd love to gift you a copy of the Sovereign Mind Method book. It outlines another method that I created in 2023 that's not featured in this video, but very practical, very effective for removing limiting beliefs. And it gives you tools called belief prompts and the sense test to instantaneously discover what are the core limiting beliefs that are causing, again, your self-sabotage, other patterns. So when you discover the core belief, and that's the belief that is at the very, very bottom of your belief system, when you dissolve that core belief, all of the other beliefs that were built on top of it can simultaneously dissolve. And so it's a much more effective and efficient way, dissolving core beliefs. So the first step, of course, is to discover the core belief. Makes sense, right? Now, the next step in the Sovereign Mind Method, once you've chosen a belief to let go of, to dissolve, this is so important. This is so important. You actually need to completely detach your mind from the belief. If you don't, you'll be subconsciously attached to the belief while trying to let it go. And this is what that looks like. Okay? So this marker is your limiting belief. It can be, I'm not worthy, I'm not enough. They're all the exact same in this framework. So here's your limiting belief. And here is your left hand, your rational conscious mind. And your rational conscious mind has been holding on to this belief but wants to let it go. And here is your subconscious mind, the inner child, the parts of you that once created this belief in order to stay safe, in order to have a sense of identity, in order to have a sense of control, in order to feel love. They created this belief long ago, and these parts of your psyche are still holding on to that belief subconsciously. So here's your subconscious mind, here's your conscious mind. And so consciously, you say, I now decide that I will let go of the belief that I am not enough. Fuck. It's still there. I now decide to go to the Tony Robbins seminar, the ayahuasca ceremony, and 10 years of therapy to get rid of this belief. Bah! Fuck! It's still there. How the heck? Dang it! What if you focused your attention on your subconscious attachment to the belief? And you welcomed those parts of your psyche that were holding on to the belief, and you embraced them with curiosity. And you asked them for the very first time in your entire life, why is it important that I keep believing that I'm not enough? Why is it important that I keep believing that I'm not worthy? And to your shock and surprise, you found out that there were some subconscious reasons that you were holding on to it. An inner child, a 5-year-old part of you that says, hey man, this is like really comfortable and familiar. This is my identity. This is who I am. You can't let that go. That's me. And so the subconscious part of you has conceptually fused your sense of identity and bound your sense of self up in the belief. Oops. Didn't know that consciously. But when you consciously are aware that this subconscious part is holding on for the sense of identity, safety, control, love, then you can embrace that part of you with a dialogue and an experience that helps them let it go. And so for the very first time in your life, that subconscious grip that you've had over that belief begins to loosen, and in a matter of minutes, you can let it go. And now that the subconscious is detached from the belief, you say to yourself, I now decide to let this go. Oh, that was easy. Holy shit, it worked. This is the key. This is the importance of detachment. It is the most fundamental prerequisite that you must do, no matter what method you pursue, in order to fully let go of the belief. By detaching from the belief, the ego's subconscious attachment, you are now prime liberated to finally let it go. Now, the way that we do this is by spoken commands. Step 3, dissolve the beliefs, definitions, and identities. Well, what does that mean? So I'm going to throw an image on the screen. And the image is temporarily going to take place of this whiteboard. And we're going to look at a belief. I am not enough. Notice how that belief is spelled. It starts with I am. Now, I am represents your identity. So you, as limitless potential creative consciousness, have condensed your sense of self, you have condensed your identity into a specific definition. You say, I am not enough. I am not worthy. I am not capable. And that I am represents the identification. That's the identity layer of the belief structure. So that's your identity wrapped up in the belief. I am not enough. Now, you've identified with a specific concept. Not enough, not worthy, not capable, not safe to be seen, not important, not this, not that. Or loser, failure, idiot, incompetent. Whatever the case may be, we all have thousands of limiting beliefs. Pick your poison. Your infinite creative consciousness has bound and identified itself with a definition, with a concept. And that concept actually contains all of the baggage that's bound up in your past experiences that you've associated with that concept. The time that you were 5 years old and the kids bullied and picked on you. The time that you were 13 years old and your dad threatened to punch you. The time that you were 17 years old and your girlfriend dumped you for another person. Oh, all of those experiences, all of those emotions bound up in your concept of not enough. What if you were to undefine that definition and unbind all of the emotional energy, all of the thoughts, images, emotions, and sensations that you associated with being not enough? Good news. You can. It's just a choice. You don't have to carry all of that baggage, and you don't have to define yourself as not enough. When you say these words out loud, higher mind, which just means higher self, aspect of me that is most directly in communion with God. You could also say I, but I prefer to utilize and lean upon a higher power in this methodology in order to have the intention operate at the highest possible level. So I say, higher mind, undefine all definitions of I am not enough. The moment that you say that after you've detached from it, because if you try this method or any other method, but you still haven't attached to it, you're still gripping, and you won't let go until you detach from it. So detach first before you try this, folks. But when you say, higher mind, undefine all definitions of I am not enough, that breaks the binding that codified that definition experientially in your body. That breaks all of the thoughts, images, emotions, and sensations that comprise that definition in your experience, and you are now liberated and unbound from that definition moving forward. So next we say, higher mind, disidentify all identities of I am not enough. And it's a very similar idea, except for now your focus is on the identification layer of the belief. You're dissolving the identity that you had built around that definition. And so both of the structural components of the belief are now broken. The definitions and the identities collapsed through the power of your spoken intention. Magical. So, once you've undefined and disidentified, the next step is to forgive. I forgive myself completely for believing I am not enough. Now, forgiveness is a very, very powerful metaphysical cleansing tool. And forgiveness does not mean I let myself off the hook for being bad and wrong. Forgiveness means I completely surrender all of these energies that I've bound within my consciousness, and I give them as a gift back to God. I surrender these energies completely such that they are instantaneously dissolved and re-rendered as love. God's will be done. I don't need this anymore. I forgive myself completely for believing I am not enough. This is the essence, my friend, of forgiveness. And truly, in and of itself, forgiveness has the power to unbind your consciousness from beliefs. These other aspects of the protocol, of the Sovereign Mind method, are still very beneficial in most applications for fully and completely dissolving the belief out of multiple dimensions of your consciousness. And so, this truly is the final step. And if you view this as preliminary work, there's really only 3 steps. You detach yourself from the belief. So for the first time in your life, you have both subconscious and conscious alignment to let the belief go. You dissolve the belief at the definition and identity level, so that for the first time in your life, you are not carrying that definition inside of your mind-body organism, and you are not wrapping your identity around that definition, around that concept. And for the first time in your life, you forgive yourself completely, not partially, completely, for believing the lie in the first place. My friends, I have seen this method work firsthand for 7-figure entrepreneurs who are dealing with income ceilings and procrastination and self-sabotage. And I have seen this method work for traumatized teenagers with no background in personal development whatsoever, who just came out of an abusive household. This method works consistently and predictably on every single limiting belief that you've ever imagined. And if you choose to explore what claiming sovereignty over your belief system and over your identity looks like, feels like, is like, I'm here to help. So I've got a book that I'd love to gift you called The Sovereign Mind Method, and it outlines everything in step 1 perfectly for you so that you can become fully self-aware of what beliefs are binding you and holding you back in your business, relationships, and overall life. And when you're ready, you can book a call with me personally, and I'll walk you through the other steps of the Sovereign Mind Method so you can have the direct experience of what it is like to dissolve one of your core limiting beliefs. Even if nothing else that you've tried has fully worked, I assure you, this might. And it probably will, because it does about 97% of the time for everyone that I facilitate it with. So that's the invitation, my friend. I appreciate you for watching this video, and I'll think about how to end it. That was great.
That was great.
Yeah.